for second and short. Patrick Mahomes, he and the Chiefs repeated, so we already know what happened this season. It was full of surprises. A lot of highs from some teams, a lot of lows from others. And in the middle, you see Mahomes hoisting the trophy. Shady McCoy, you learned a lot this season. I can't wait to hear your answer to this question. What was the biggest thing as you use all of the ink in that highlighter? What was the biggest thing that you learned this season?
Let me get one more. Now, you know what? It was more of a players I was want to talk about, but I learned something that I haven't learned in a long time playing this game, is that it's really real, right? You talked about culture. Culture is big. Culture, a good coach, and a good quarterback, anything is possible, right? We look at Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I always said that Andy Reid can win anywhere. Drop him anywhere, he's going to win. Unlike your boy from the Patriots. Anyway, but not only would he win, you get a franchise quarterback, now you winning championships. Now they're talking about dynasty, 6 straight AFC championship games, right? 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. You look at guys like the Texans, trash organization for years, in my opinion. You get you a good coach, brings that good structure, that good culture. You get you a quarterback. You go from picking top 3, top 2, top 1 to now you're in the playoffs and you're winning the game, right? So it's so important to have that culture, to have that coach, and to find you that quarterback. And that's something I really learned this year watching all the NFL. And I truly love it. And for all these years, I never really thought of it like that. Now I'll take the pads off, take the helmet off, and I can really watch as a fan, and I learned that for sure.
Yeah, that face mask got you blurred up.
I took the face mask off, and I put the Cartiers on.
This year was about defense to me. I was trying to bang that drum all season long, and it turns out I was super right about it. Kansas City defense, tremendous all season long, was huge in the Super Bowl, huge throughout the playoffs, really, in my opinion, carried them through the season because they obviously had a lot of struggles on offense, which they are traditionally built through. Number 2 scoring defense, number 2 total defense, number 2 scoring defense, number 4 total defense in the postseason. They were tremendous. Obviously, Chris Jones had an unbelievable play in overtime. If Hardman's game-winning touchdown is the Kyrie shot, then Chris Jones' play was the chase down block. There was a tremendous combination of how they stepped up at the end of the season.
Okay, Bronny.
Throughout the year. Yeah, shout out, Bron. And you had the Niners riding their defense all the way through the season. They did a tremendous job in the Super Bowl, even though they just fired the defensive coordinator, but they did do a tremendous job. The Ravens, the Steelers were winning games off defense. Talk about the Cowboys. The Cowboys, obviously, we haven't talked about in a long time, but their defense was incredible this year. So I think that defenses, at least for this year, have caught up to what was the offensive surge of the NFL, and they have figured out ways to get involved in the game, to influence the game. And this, I do believe that the shifts that the defense made this year really affected offensive output, and is why the MVP conversation was so hotly contested this year, because of how the defense is played.
Will you say that defense still wins championships? I know that was highly debated before the season. We were talking, they got a great defense, but it doesn't matter. You need a great offense. Would you say now that, because we hadn't seen defense win championships, I think since I said
4 years. About 4 or 5 years.
That one, or 2015 Denver Broncos was probably the last time we said a defense won a championship.
I would say the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl was definitely, it was a defensive battle. There was no scoring in that game.
It was bad.
No, I think defense has always played a massive role in the Super Bowl. We just don't, it's not as sexy. And obviously the rules have leaned now more towards the offense, protecting the quarterback as we should. And it's really shifted to offensive output and offensive coaches, or hiring offensive coaches. But this year, I really think that either there's been a shift or defensive players are figuring it out. But they were tremendous this year. The defensive players stepped up in a huge way, and they definitely won games, particularly in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with Joy. Defenses help win championships. But what I learned is, if you want to win in this National Football League and championships at a high level, you need a superstar quarterback. Defense needs to play well, but you need a superstar quarterback. That's what I took away from this season. All these teams that think they could get away of winning championships consistently with average cats or above average dudes, it ain't happening consistently. You might get you one, but it's not happening consistently. In this league, what I took away this year still remains the same. You need a superstar quarterback to win championships consistently. That defense for the Kansas City Chiefs played their lights out, but they was off the field for that last drive. And the superstar quarterback said, I got you. You got what I'm saying? Defense for the Niners played extremely well. They didn't have a superstar quarterback, 3 and out in certain situations to kind of put the game away. In this league, you need superstar quarterbacks to win championships at a very high level. Emmanuel Acho.
Interesting you mentioned the Niners quarterback. I learned a couple things. I'll start with the Niners quarterback. I learned that Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback.
So he's a superstar
not just the franchise quarterback. I mean, going after last season, we were all like, yo, Purdy might have got lucky. He only played 8 games. Then he had a UCL injury. What's he going to do? He came back this year, went all the way to the Super Bowl, and was by no stretch of the imagination the reason his team lost that game. I mean, what Brock Purdy did this year, unflappable in the Super Bowl. James Jones, you talked to me one-on-one at the big board like, hey, everybody going to be nervous. That second drive, it was his Hall of Fame left tackle who had a false start. Yep. It was his Hall of Fame left tackle who had a holding penalty. I believe the first drive, it was his probably Hall of Fame running back who fumbled the ball.
He gone.
But it was the second year, I think 24-year-old Brock Purdy didn't turn the ball over. Never. Missed maybe 2-3 throws. Maybe. Made all of the right decisions more than not. Didn't even throw an almost interception. The almost interceptions went off his receiver's hands, both of them, at the same time. So to me, what I learned is Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. The other thing I learned, Shady, you'll like this one, Mahomes-Kelce-Andy Reid, Chris Jones, they're enough. Enough for what, Acho? Whatever you want. They're enough. They're enough. Like, I agree. They are enough. I thought they needed Tyreek. Then without Tyreek, I was like, you know what? We make fun of Juju this, bicycle that, TikTok that. Juju had a 1,400-yard season. I know I wasn't close to that. James Jones, you were. LeSean, McCoy, obviously, you had over 2,000 in the season, if I'm not mistaken. So to me, 1,400 is...
Couple times.
To me, 1,400 is impressive. So I'm still like, man, Mahomes still had a receiver capable of 1,400. This year, he had Mecole Hardman, who they had shipped off. He had MVS, who the Packers had shipped off. He had Kadarius Toney, who the Giants had shipped off. He had Rashid Rice, the 3rd-round pick. He had Sky Moore, former second-round pick. He had Justin Watson, a 5th-round pick out of Penn, and he still
no 1,000-yard receiver at
Super Bowl. None. Wow. Travis Kelce, not even a 1,000-yard tight end.
Struggled this year as well.
Not even a 1,000-yard tight end.
We didn't learn how can the Niners win the Super Bowl.
We got time, Acho.
Yo, she trolling you today, though. Like, come on.
Still out. Well, I mean, it wasn't Brock Purdy.
It wasn't.
It was Wilkes.
It was Wilkes. But can we say this about the franchise quarterback, though? He didn't do enough to win the game either, though.
No, he didn't.
You know what I'm saying? No. I just had to give you both sides.
What's exciting about Brock Purdy, though? Because Brock Purdy did not have a true offseason to really develop because he was rehabbing all offseason. This year, he'll have a true offseason to develop. I think that's going to do wonders.
He's young. He's going to be better, though.
Yeah,
He's young. He's a young quarterback.
He's a good player.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.